Okay, that's an interview for Pink Channel in Hamburg, and in front of me stands Casey. And Casey, you have an artist identity named Eddie. Who is Eddie?
Eddie Entropy is my artist persona, my artist name. I formed this name within the space of drag performance. I started as a drag artist in America, and now it's generally my artist name that I use for performance art, theater pieces, and also still drag and drag spaces here in Berlin. And it's just a skin. It's just it just keeps me, Casey, a bit safer while I am in a position that's very vulnerable. And I like to be vulnerable in my work, so it helps me do that.
We have a discussion tonight in the British Embassy, and you explained us a very different position about gender and sex. What is your position to, I say the gender or the sex base? How you define it yourself?
I define myself as a non-binary trans woman. And what this means to me is that I am a trans woman. I'm embodying my own sense of womanhood. And I also wish to insist that people see this as non-binary. I wish for my existence to be one that is against the binary system of sex, male, female, right? And also of gender, man, woman. Yeah, I think that's it.
I have a not so easy question. I perceived often that trans women have fear of their womanhood. And so they declare themselves non-binary because they have problems to stand to their identity, you can say, to their own gender. Is it a part? Is it a sort of fear?
Is it a fear that I have?
Fear to womanhood?
I'm certainly not afraid of womanhood. I treasure womanhood. I cherish womanhood and all of the different ways that it is embodied. I think it's a beautiful source of knowledge. It's a beautiful source of care in our societies and in human history. I think what I'm afraid of is essentialism around womanhood. To say that womanhood is one thing and must be one thing even, and all the violence that it takes to enforce that. That's what I'm afraid of.
Nice.
It's funny, like, I think so many people who get deep into feminism and gender theory can be afraid to actually claim an identity. And I'm not afraid to claim this identity because I feel so strongly that the problem is always essentialism, you know? Like, to say you're one thing doesn't mean that one thing is stable. It means that you like that one thing, and it also changes.
Do you make difference between cis woman and trans woman? And how you define the differences?
Do I make a difference? Only insofar as I make a difference between each person. And I know it's a very, like, you know, crowd-pleasing answer, but I do mean this quite seriously. Like, I cannot, in my right mind, say or begin to define some kind of key differences between cis women and trans women, because it would lead to the same faults and leaky distinctions, as Donna Haraway says, that these gender binaries have us in the first place. I think human beings do truly exist on this beautiful spectrum, in this beautiful diversity, which is also a reflection of nature. And so I can't answer the other parts of this question. I refuse.
Oh, thank you very much. I think it's a clear statement. You've told here in this event your non-binary being is also a political statement. Why?
Yes, I find often trans women and trans femmes in particular can be sharply criticized, also especially within the feminist movement, for really claiming and enjoying and performing certain parts of femininity. And I have observed that often trans women can thus carry the blame for enforcing some kind of binary that damages women, and some kind of binary that is inherently misogynistic. And for me, declaring my identity as non-binary is in part my own armor against this argument that me enjoying certain aspects of femininity is somehow also me embodying, patriarchal ideas of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be feminine. I'm asking people to perceive me as someone who is in fact cognizant of the binary and actually just choosing modes of being that are pleasurable to me. So yeah, that's why I say non-binary, is to kind of, speak to the haters.
We spoke in this event about the situation in the USA. You came from USA. I think you make a few interesting announcements about the situation and your situation and your passport, for example. How do you see to the situation in the USA?
Thank you for asking me that. One thing that you and Helmut today spoke about was how the German constitution is stable, and we can perhaps have some faith here in Germany that amidst these far-right movements, we can have faith in the government and the structures of this nation kind of remaining solid. I do not have that faith in the governmental structures of the United States as a country. I believe, based on our history, we have always been a country that has navigated this federal system and the state system. And right now we have a president who is bombastically jeopardizing the integrity of the federal government. And the more he does that, the more I believe that the states will take it upon themselves to provide their own services and structures to their own citizens. And the states do have strong enough governments to do this, but we will see social and political ruptures and collapse in the United States in the next 4 years. I'm completely certain of this. It's been happening for a while already. And I hope that on the federal level, people do finally organize against these flagrant violations of the law and of the Constitution. Because until that gets repaired, the states will have to take care of some things by themselves.
Will it cost life of gender diverse people?
The United States of America, since its conception, costs the lives of gender diverse people. This colony is conceived upon the notion of squashing indigenous queer two-spirit life. And queer and trans people have never quite been safe in America. They have sometimes been welcomed and tolerated and accepted, used, utilized, but not truly safe. And I do believe violence has always been a fact of life in the United States, and this certainly will continue. And it breaks my heart, but I can't be sweet about it.
Last question. In my opinion, gender diverse people, in the will or not in the will, have to perform femininity. All gender diverse people. And in my opinion, is the violence we receive is a part of the violence against women. How do you think about this?
Absolutely. Patriarchy is also the kind of underpinning logic and ethos behind these societies that we're living in the West, and so is capitalism, and so inherently this is violence that generally flows from what we call men to what we call women. Of course, then there's the broader umbrella and spectrum. There's the ways that patriarchy harms men. There's the ways that patriarchy harms gender diverse people. And there's the ways that women harm other women within patriarchy. But ultimately, this is an underpinning logic of the violence that we live in.
If you have a wish, what wish do you have?
I wish for trans and queer people to simply be able to exist. I don't actually want to speak about my identity. I don't actually want to kind of perform certain ways of being. I want to experience pleasure and love with my community and with human beings. So I wish and I dream of a time when discourse dies and is unnecessary, and when we can actually just attend to our bodies and to our work.
This was Casey for Pink Channel in Hamburg. Thank you for this impressive interview.
Thank you so much, very much. It's lovely to meet you. You're brilliant.